are jealous of you. Let's just put it that way. They're jealous of you. They are in bad marriages. Children should not be the reason you get married. That is a poor reason to get married. Children are great and they're amazing, but they are a responsibility. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Dr. Zain, and on this channel I make videos about mental health. So if that sounds like your thing, make sure you subscribe right now and give this video a big thumbs up. So recently, Trevor spoke openly on his podcast about how, because he's at a certain age and he's unmarried, people see him as unserious, and there's a lot of single shaming. So basically, when you get to a certain age and you've never been married, especially if you've never been married, then people begin to see you as unserious and they see you as a loser. And it's interesting because Trevor Noah is not somebody anyone would look at and think of as a loser. And so that just, first of all, I'm feeling grateful that he came out and spoke about that openly. And I'm also grateful that he spoke about it openly as a man, because most times women are the ones who face that kind of rhetoric, such that if you've passed a certain age and you've never been married, then people begin to see you as if there's a problem, as if there's a red flag, as if there's something off about you, you're damaged goods, you're the left behind one. It's kind of interesting that a man who is Trevor Noah, who is in his position and has achieved what he has achieved, is also facing the same thing. It's not great that he's made to feel that way, but it's great that he's speaking out about it so that all of us can know that everyone, well, more people than just women are going through it. Women, once you get to like 20 years old, people are like, oh my god, you're getting old. Like, when I'm getting married, time is going, I'm getting old quickly. So in this video, I just want to really talk about what makes people confront other people like that and talk about people's life choices, especially when it comes to marriage. This time and age is different from the time and age of our parents' generation, and the time of and age of our parents' generation was different from the time and the age of their parents' generation, and on and on and on it goes. So people make different life choices based on their present circumstances and just based on their experience, their lived experiences, what they've seen other people experiencing, and their own thoughts about how they want their lives to be. And this is not something that is new. We've always had people who have been the confirmed bachelors, right? In different families, we've always had those aunties who never got married, who were always spinsters. I guess it wasn't as common as it is nowadays, and because of the internet, it wasn't as widely known back then as it is now. Now everybody knows everything, and one of the beautiful things about this generation is that people are more open and more forthcoming and more honest about the way they live their lives on the internet. And so we know that many more people are deciding to step back and not get married at all, and some people are deciding to delay marriage to later dates than is the norm. But we still have some people who do not understand that, and who do not understand that it's inappropriate to confront people about their personal choices, and do not understand that you can decide not to do things the way other people do things. You can decide not to live your life the way society dictates and still be a rational, logical, mature adult of a person. So they come at you. Now, don't get me wrong, marriage is an important thing, which is why most people are obsessed with the topic of marriage. Relationships are an important thing. We're human beings, we are social creatures, and we need relationships. And marriage is just a unique kind of relationship in that it's an institution that has been there for a very long time, and dare I say it will be there for a very long time to come. And it's just unique in that it brings together families, and it creates a whole new family, and it's like a little unit of the society. And it's where, you know, individuals are trained and individuals are brought into life and are trained, typically of course, and are helped to become well-adjusted, well-functioning, productive members of the society. Like I said, people have different reasons for either deciding never to get married or for deciding to delay marriage later than is the norm. And some people do in fact want to get married. They do make the effort, they do try, they speak to people, they do all that they can, but for some reason it just never happens for them when they or even society wants it to happen, right? And they are kind of lumped together with everybody else who decides not to, or who seems to be delaying things. I would just say one thing, and that decision is valid and that we should all respect it. But in this video, I really just want to focus on the people who come at people who talk about why you're not getting married. People like that fall into like 4 different categories from what I've seen, and I'm going to be telling you guys about those 4 categories of people. And the point of that is that when somebody comes at you like that and they ask you why haven't you gotten married, and you can kind of put them in one of these categories, then it will help you to understand where they're coming from. It will help you to not be as irritated as you might be if you did not know where they were coming from, or if you could not see them clearly. And it will help you stand your ground and be firm on your decision, so that you do not end up making a mistake when you allow, if you allow yourself to be pushed. So number 1, the first category of people are the people who are simple people. They do not move past their lanes. They do not aspire to more than they have around them. They genuinely do not understand how somebody can decide not to live their lives according to the the already cleared path, right? Like, they're not people who would decide to carve a whole new path for themselves. They just live their lives according to what society dictates and how everyone else seems to live their lives, and they don't think about whether it works for them or not, and they just cannot understand how you can decide to make a different choice than everyone else seems to be making, just the way you cannot understand how everyone else can be making the same choice without even thinking about what life choices they're making, right? And so it's not as if they are being particularly hostile or they're trying to be irritating. They just genuinely do not understand, and they want to understand. And sometimes it can come across as rude when they ask you questions like that, but most times they do not mean to be rude. Many times they might not understand the best practices of like manners, or they might not be the best at observing etiquette and things of that sort, but it's not coming from a bad place in many cases. Okay, that is the first category. The second category of people who they genuinely care about you, and they are experiencing happiness in their marriages, and they experience joy, and they actually are in love, and they feel loved, and they feel like that is where happiness can come from. I grant you, this is the minority of those people, but they do exist, and they do care about you, and they feel like they want you to also have the happiness and the joy that they experience, and they feel like this is the only way, or this is a sure way for you to have that. And it's not as if maybe they think you're not happy with the way things are, but they feel like you can have more happiness, and they feel like this is the surest way of having happiness, so they want it for you, and so they kind of push you in that direction. The third and fourth category of people are a bit more sinister than the first 2 categories, especially the third category I'm going to talk about now. Now, the third category of people are the people who are jealous of you. Let's just put it that way. They're jealous of you. They are in bad marriages. They hate the choices they've made with their lives. They probably, in many cases, went into marriage because society told them to, at the age society told them to, without thinking about it, without thinking about the responsibilities that came with marriage. And now they're facing those responsibilities, and they hate that kind of life. They went into marriage without thinking about the restrictions that come with that kind of institution, and now they hate those restrictions, and they hate that they do not have the freedom that they thought they would have, or that they used to have, the freedom to make other choices, or to make certain choices that they would have otherwise, that they do not have now. They probably went into marriage because they thought it would help them become happy because they were miserable before, or they thought it would save them from their former home situation, from maybe an abusive parent, something of that sort, or they thought it would help them not have to work because then their spouse would support them, or they wanted to be able to pay their bills, and they thought, oh, this is the best way to do that. Or in some cases because they had the itch to have a child, and they felt this was the quickest way to have that child without thinking about the other ramifications of entering into such an alliance. And now it has become very real to them, and so they hate it. I'm not saying those things are bad. I'm saying that they do not like it. Those things that you're probably thinking about, they did not think about those things, and it has become real to them, and they hate living that life. And they hate even more that there is somebody, who isn't in that same situation with them, and so they're jealous of you for having the freedom and the options that you have, and the options to live your life, to choose how you live your life, to make certain choices that they do not have now, and they hate that you're not in a miserable marriage like they are, and they just hate it. So they will try to, they won't tell you they hate it, they'll just tell you that the choices you're making makes you're a loser, and that the choices they've made are the choices you should make, not because they care about you, but because they are just jealous of you and they want you to be in that situation with them. In my opinion, this forms the majority of the people who ask questions like that, who ask you why, especially those aunties, you guys know those aunties, especially those African aunties. Okay, those African aunties, they be doing so much. They fall into this category, the ones who their husbands have like 10 concubines with 10 babies outside, the ones who every other weekend they fight with their husbands, and when they show up at work they show up with a black eye and they have to wear sunshades, and the husband shows up limping, and when you ask them, oh, what happened, they won't lie, they'll be like, well, me and my husband fought last night, and we punched each other. Like, they'll say it with pride. They don't see, like, they don't hide because they still do not understand that they're in a horrible situation. Like, they get it, but they don't really get it, right? They are the ones, right? They are the ones with the pervert husbands who have an unfortunate addiction to porn, and they transfer that addiction to their children. They're the ones with the children who are perverts, who bring in a different girl every week, and those women are like, oh, my daughter, welcome, right? They are the ones, those people, they are the ones, they fall into this category. Those people, you already know what to do. Ignore them and just pity them. Just feel sorry for them, because they really are in pitiable situations most times. Now, the fourth category are not as sinister or as bad as the third category, and these people are, they're just people are the people that are not as, they're a bit limited. Okay, they're a bit limited, and they're not as self-aware as they should be, and so they made these choices because society told them to, because their parents told them to, family told them to, their friends were making those same decisions, they made these decisions, but they still do not know if their decisions are right or wrong. The only way they will know if their decisions are right or wrong is if everyone else makes the same decisions. All right, it's like a child in school who buys a new backpack when they're resuming for the new term, or who buys a certain kind of school sandal for the new term, and they don't feel right about the school sandal or the bag or the socks until they get to school and they see all their other friends wearing that same brand of socks, or carrying that same brand of backpack, or same brand of school sandals. It is only then that they will know that they made the right decision, right? So they cannot make decisions by themselves, and they do not know if their decisions are right, because they just do not have a framework for making correct decisions that work for them. The only framework they have is to see other people making the same choices, so that would affirm for them that their life choices are right. Okay, and unfortunately, marriage becomes one of those life decisions that they make, and that they do not know if it's right or wrong. So they want everyone else to make those decisions. Like, it's not okay for them to see one person or two people, or even a majority of society making those decisions. They want to see everybody, especially people around them, making those same decisions. And if you are in their circle of friends, or if you're in their family, like their extended family, etc., then they will want you to be one of those people who make the exact same decisions that they make, right? And it's not just getting married when they say you should get married. It's, you marry the kind of person that they want you to get married to, the kind of person that they married. He has to have this much, or she has to look this way, and she has to come from this place, and you have to have exactly 4 children, the exact number of children that they have, in the same order that they had their children. Like, if they had a girl child first, they want you to have a girl child first. If they have 3 children, they want you to have exactly 3 children. And when are you having a boy child, you have to have a boy child. And your children should not go to this daycare, they have to go to this daycare, because that's where my children are going, and that's where this person's children are going, and that person's children are going, and those people's children are going. So that's the best daycare. Your children have to go to this university, and they have to study this course, only this course, or this course, no other course. And your children have to get married to this person exactly, and that kind of person. And this is the kind of outfit you should wear, this is where you should go shopping, and this is this is kind of food you should eat, and it's ridiculous, but it's weird. I grant you, it's weird, but they don't think it's weird. So it will be as if they're following you. That's kind of like the busybodies, right? They follow you. This is the category they fall into. It's because they're just limited, right? Not because they're particularly, jealous or hateful, or or that they care about. They honestly do not care about you. They just want to make sure that your choices affirm their choices. Now, the point again of categorizing these people is that it helps me to be able to just place people in classes when I interact with them, and it helps me to be able to be compassionate and give them grace, okay? Allow them their follies. And so it becomes easier for you to deal with people like that, even if they're being irritating. And it just also allows you to maintain your strength and your stand on whatever life choices you've made, even if it's not marriage. It could be on anything, especially when you've come to that decision not lightly, especially when you've employed a lot of education, you've done a lot of research, you've gone through a whole rational thought process, you've observed people's experiences, you've looked at your own personal experiences, you've done a lot of reflection, a lot of meditation on those choices before you come into that decision. You know that based on what you know, if you decide to take a different direction, even if that different direction is what society wants you to take, that you might end up regretting it, just the way many other people take that path and end up regretting it somewhere down the line. And you do not want to go down that line. It helps you to just be firm, no matter how difficult, because we have to admit, having people come at you, no matter how firm you are, how certain you are on your decision, having people come at you continuously telling you the same thing can make you doubt yourself, and it becomes bothersome. And if you're not strong enough, you might just incline towards their opinions, and it might cause you to relent and just say, okay, fine, I'll do what they want me to do, especially if the people coming at you are people who are influential in your life, like parents, like family members, like family friends, like all those aunties and uncles. The uncles be doing too much too. African uncles be doing too much. Like African aunties be doing the most, but African uncles be doing too much too. Let's not lie. Remember to be firm on your stance, and remember to do it when you're ready, if you're ready, with whom you're ready, and not a moment before. Because at the end of the day, if you make a wrong decision, even though you know that it's a wrong decision, and even if you don't know, you will regret it at the end. Somewhere along the line, you'll regret it, which is why you have people getting married and getting divorced after 6 months, after 1 year. And I'm not even joking, right? And it's a mess out there. It's a mess out there, especially when it comes to this marriage thing. Another thing is, I'm not talking about this issue today, but I just genuinely want to mention it because I know that somebody might be watching right now who is doubtful. Am I ready? Should I do it? When should I do it? I don't really know. I don't have a framework for that. And I'll just say that anybody, male or female, if you're thinking about getting married, make sure. But this is especially for females. And I'm saying especially for females because females are usually the ones who are usually at the receiving end of a lot of abuse from the spouse and from the family. And they're usually the ones who end up just losing the game in the end. Not because females are weak or anything, but just because of the nature of things. And you're the one who ends up getting pregnant and swollen footed, and if you get married to somebody who isn't supportive, then you're the one who suffers that. You're the one who, if you are unfortunate enough, which unfortunately a lot of women are, to marry somebody who is abusive in any way, then you're the one who won't be able to leave. If you don't have the power to leave. There's a lot of family, abuse from the family too. There's just so much. So, and again, men do experience abuse for sure, but women, the majority of abuse cases that we see are fall to women, and most times women are the ones who are being disenfranchised, and they're the ones who have to hope that their partners are supportive, and it's a lot, especially in a society like this where in many cases the woman gets married and she moves into the husband's house with his family, and it's a whole thing. And unfortunately people still do that. People definitely still do that, even though some people might not be able to fathom that. People still do it, and it can be very messy. And sometimes people think, you're getting married because you love this person, because you feel like you're compatible and you'll have this whole life together, and you're not hoping for things to go bad, so you're not going to make any plans that might seem as if you're waiting for things to get bad because it might jinx the whole thing. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think preparation is part of life. I think things can be one way today and change tomorrow, even if both individuals involved are not necessarily bad people, even though they came into the situation with good intentions. So many people who get divorced, like you can get married hoping, thinking, if you're, in most cases, like you don't get married thinking, I love this person, but I'm hoping in like 6 months I'm going to hate them so that we can have a whole messy divorce and, just end up breaking each other's hearts and hurting our families too, and hurting our children if we have any. And like most people don't think like that, right? So but it happens. So what you will think, why, and you will think, okay, it can happen to anybody in that case. And when you're in love with people, you're literally obsessed with them. Like your brain is literally inundated with hormones and chemicals that make it difficult for you to think rationally when it comes to them, and that make it difficult for you to see things clearly. And so you might not see certain things that you're supposed to see about your situation, about your compatibility, about, just the feasibility of that relationship lasting. And I've been saying all of this because I want to say this: financial independence. Because we're no longer in the village. When we were in the village, it was easier. You did not have to think of financial independence because it was family. There was a set support system in place, and it was going to be very difficult for people, especially spouses, to oppress each other because there was family all around. If somebody got out of line, you had people to report to, and then beyond that, you had people to report to, and you had people who at least that spouse would respect enough to be kept in line by, to be checked by. It's not that way these days. These days, people are just on their own, and they'll tell you, you're not feeding me, so you don't have the right to talk to me anyway. I don't care how much of an elder you are in the family, okay? And when the elder leaves, he will continue beating you. And so money is power today. Money is power. And if you, again, we don't pray for bad things, but if you're unfortunate to end up getting married to a narcissist or an abusive person, and they exist at plenty, then you have the choice of leaving if you want to. You won't end up staying there because you are financially dependent on this person, and you cannot live on your own without their support. If you're financially independent, you can't make a decision to leave. And I'm saying this because it's just one of those things that we always have to talk about, because lots of people do not understand. Like, lots of people do not seem to get this part, and they just go in. It's like going into you don't go into the jungle without arms, something to protect yourself. You don't walk into the jungle without at least the boots and maybe a pocket knife or something. Like, you don't do that, right? You're not praying to see a snake or, I don't know, a wild animal, but you hold your pocket knife and you put on your boots, right? At the very least. So you cannot just say you want to get married and create a family and have children without having something of your own and hoping that you have the supportive partner. It's great if you have a supportive partner, but you should have power of your own, i.e. you should have money of your own, or something to give you your own financial power. And at the very least, even if things do not go wrong, then you know that you are not, like, it is obvious to everybody that you're not entering into that marriage because of your partner's money, or because you want your partner to support you, or because, any of that stuff. At least your intentions are good, right? They are clear. That is very important. Now, the last thing I want to mention here is that you should know why you're getting married. Lots of people go into without having a clear idea of why they should do this, and they just do it because society says they should do it. And of course, many times that then ends up going wrong. So you should have a reason, you should have a clear reason, and that should be a strong reason, something that brings both of you together, something that is important in your life and their life, something that you want your life to be about and they want their life to be about. So it could be something that both of you build your marriage around and that you work on as the marriage grows, and that will strengthen the bond between both of you, and that would even maintain the spark in your relationship. And they should not be children. Children should not be the reason you get married. That is a poor reason to get married. Children are great and they're amazing, but they are a responsibility They're not something that will help you tether your spouse to you, especially the way people see that their marriage is in trouble and then they quickly get pregnant, or they say, oh, maybe we should have a child and that will help us get closer. No, 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 no. If your marriage is weak, the child you're having will weaken your marriage even further if you're not careful, as we have seen over and over. So, a word, they say, is enough for the wise. This is where I'm going to stop for today. Thank you so much for watching this video with me till this very end, if in fact you're still watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you have not subscribed, please make sure you subscribe right now and give this video a big thumbs up. It encourages me to make more videos. Thank you once again, and I will see you next time.